G'day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan battle video. In this video we're going to be taking a look at the EZA that's come to AGL Super Saiyan Gogeta, and the EZA a lot of people are excited for, and we're going to see just how good he is in DBZ Dokkan battle. Now my Gogeta is rainbow with level 10 links, so this is going to be the pretty much absolute max that you can see a unit like Gogeta at, basically. So to cut a long story short, Gogeta's EZA is really good. He's a movie heroes or fusion category key of 3 HP attack and defense of 170%. He greatly raises attack and raises defense 1 turn in his base form, and he has key +2 attack and defense of 140% with an additional attack and defense of 50% when attacking. He has attacks effective against all types, with a high chance of evading the enemy's attack, including super attack. He will transform when conditions are met, and those conditions are fairly straightforward. All you have to do is get to turn 4. In terms of his build, I would suggest a full additional build. I don't think there's any alternative build, and yeah, just basically full additional. Then in terms of links, he's got Saiyan Warrior Race, Golden Warrior, Super Saiyan, Prepared for Battle, Over in a Flash, Fused Fighter, and Fierce Battle. And then on categories, he's on Fusion, Realm of the Gods, Transformation Boost, Movie Heroes, Super Saiyans, Final Trump Card, Powerful Comeback, Time Limit, Power Beyond Super Saiyan, Fused Fighters, and Super Heroes. He also transforms, and that transformation is on the 4th turn, as mentioned previously. When he transforms, he will move to 150% attack and defense. He will have an additional attack and defense of 50% when attacking. He performs a guaranteed critical hit on all of his attacks, and he has a great chance, which is 70%, of evading the enemy's attack, which is pretty damn good. He also gets an additional key +2 and attack of 50% for 4 turns after evading a super attack. So Gogeta looks pretty impressive. Link-wise, he does change slightly. He loses Golden Warrior, and that gets replaced by Warrior Gods. But beyond that, he's generally pretty much the same unit. So his link set remains pretty decent. I think overall he has a very good link set. And yeah, we're going to see just how good he is and just test things out. The first team we're going to be testing him on is a superhero team, which I think is a pretty good team for him. Especially for in-game content, I think Gogeta can shine here. One thing is he does have a couple 200% leads, so he's currently on the Powerful Comeback 200%, and then I think he's also on, it wouldn't be Power Beyond Super Saiyans, I think that's it. I think he's just on Powerful Comeback, because he's not part of Kamehameha. So overall, you can see defense looking pretty good to start. It does obviously take him until his transformation to really start to get kind of higher looking defense numbers. But overall, this is a pretty good start. No evasion there, 50% in his base form, which is pretty good, and 7.2 million, which is again pretty damn good. Now he shares 4 links with Tech Vegito Blue, which makes them a pretty nice pairing. When he transforms, he shares 5 links, or 6 links, no, 5 links, with Vegito Blue, which is pretty good overall, I would say. So yeah, honestly speaking, I think that Gogeta looks pretty damn good. I think you will have seen online most people kind of freaking out over Gogeta, and it's because of the relative ease of the unit, I think. Whereas Broly requires, it's kind of similar to Piccolo and Gohan, whereas Gohan kind of requires like a very good turn, but then he can look really good, whereas Piccolo kind of looks good in pretty much most situations, and it's very similar with Broly and Gogeta. I think Broly, in certain turns can look incredible, and then when he doesn't, he don't look so great. So I think that is probably how I would evaluate them. As you can see here, obviously looking pretty much the same defensively. As I mentioned, nothing's going to change too much until he transforms, because then he can greatly raise attack and defense for those 4 turns, which allows him to really build up stacks. Without support, 6.5 million, which is again pretty good. Remember, it is attacks effective against all types, so it's basically like a strength unit throwing out a 6.5 mil attack. So it's pretty damn good, honestly speaking. So I personally do quite like Gogeta. I think he was done correctly, I want to say. Probably a terrible term to use, but the thing is Gogeta, you know, his kit was always one that was going to be difficult to screw up, I want to say, just because of the simplicity of it. Like, when a unit has evasion in both forms, generally speaking, you're just going to augment that evasion. When a unit raises attack, generally it's going to start raising defense. And yeah, just the slight percentage changes, the stats just made them start to look really, really good. So here we can see close to 200k, a little bit of defensive support on this rotation as well though. But a pretty good start here, pretty solid stuff. It's a shame that Gohan's not attacking in the first slot. That would allow Gogeta to get his evasion, and that's where you start to see the crazy attack stats. So the ones where you see like 11, 12 million, those are generally because people are at the max in terms of the stacking. So they've got 2 or 3 stacks already built up, and they're sitting in their 3rd turn or their 3rd stack. And then obviously he also gets the evasion, and then he starts to look pretty nutty. That's where he kind of goes like full on god mode Gogeta, really just kind of dishing it out. It's not hard to get him there, by the way. I say it like there's a lot of effort going into it, but there's not really that much effort. Like, you basically just have the unit rock up, do 2 super attacks, evade an attack, and then he hits 12 million. It's really, really that simple, which I think is why people like Gogeta so much. So here you're going to see we've got 1 stack of his defense going, we've got 5, we've got 30% support here, and he's already up to 297 defense. He can hold on to 1 more stack due to the 4-turn nature of his passive, which is really, really good. And you can now get the evasion, hopefully, although we don't here. But you can already see that attack stat climb up, 9 million, looking very, very good. So overall, he's looking pretty nutty already. 9 million guaranteed crits is like LR level damage. So you see like Rainbow Piccolos that are fully built up hit like 12 million. And not to mention that Gogeta also gains, defense of 50% on his super attack when firing his super attack. So it is pretty crazy when you look at it that way. We're going to try him out on the fusion team now, and you're going to see very similar numbers, but this time we're going to be able to get the evasion beforehand. So you're now going to be able to see basically that full level of offensive power, which is going to be really, really good. So yeah, obviously on the fusion team, a little bit lower in the leader skill, which is something I'd like to draw your attention to. So you will see him in very similar situations, but with maybe slightly less defense than what you saw before. Not too much, a couple thousand, but it is just noticeable. In terms of a linking partner, we do have some different ones I'm trying out here. You have Super Saiyan Gogeta, which is a very good option. We're also going to be using the Transforming Final Trump Card Gogeta. Now, obviously, using Transforming Final Trump Card Gogeta is maybe not the best choice if you're heading into super hard content, but one day he will get an EZA, and they're going to be a very fun rotation to run together because they're both going to have crazy high levels of defense and probably guaranteed crits as well. So here we can see, defensively, obviously there's no support here. This is slightly lower leader skills, so you can really probably see the basement of Rainbow Gogeta's defense, which is fine. It's good to see that. He still has 50% evasion, so generally this level of defense, I would say, is probably more than fine for the beginning of Red Zone. Obviously, again, factoring in that my unit is Rainbow with level 10 links. In terms of the rest, yeah, I think from there it's only onwards and upwards. Once you get to the 4th turn, that's where things start to get really nutty. In terms of his teams, I think Fusion's in a bit of a weird space right now. This guy combined with Tech AGL Gogeta is probably, and SS4 Gogeta is probably as good as it gets. I guess Tech SS4 Gogeta is also pretty decent, but he doesn't link well with this guy, but I think he is also pretty decent. I still think it's just lacking something. A really great support is what I think would really help out the Fusion team, because Fusion, its best support is probably the AGL Gotenks, which isn't saying much, since he's an okay support, but he himself is not necessarily the best right off the bat. We've got a double transformation here, so immediately we're starting to look pretty damn sexy. I think everything's looking really good here. Hundreds of thousands of defense. Now you can start building the stacks. We've got 5 links active, all offensive based links. There's not a lot of defensive links on Gogeta, so link leveling him for defense isn't really the play. You're not going to be grabbing a huge amount of defense by link leveling him, so if that's kind of your aim, don't really worry too much about it. Like I say, you're not going to grab an excessive amount of defense. But yeah, looking pretty good so far, at least for me. Looking stellar. Yeah, if you had to rate him out of 10 at a rainbow level, definitely probably 10 out of 10. I think he's just really simple and easy to use, and I think that's going to appease a lot of people. It's always fun when a unit, to get them to their peak doesn't require a lot. Obviously some big threat stages for him are going to be stages where you can't evade, but fortunately his defense does build up to a decent clip, so even though it's not like he maybe he can't evade, but what he can do is he can obviously still cause some pretty insane damage. So yeah, I would say he looks really good. I do really like him, and you can see there he starts to build up this defensive stack, looking really solid. Here we're going to get the evasion beforehand, I believe, and that's going to really augment the attack stats. So you get the evasion, and then he's going to launch 10.7, and you could still build that up a little bit more. You could still get it a little bit higher. We haven't managed to get any additionals with Gogeta, which would obviously improve that attack and defensive stat quite a lot. And the reason we're not getting additionals is partly because we are essentially just eviscerating everything. Dokkan events aren't really where you can test out a unit like Gogeta. Yeah, that's firing 10 million crits. That's just not something you can test in a Dokkan event anymore. But yeah, Gogeta looking pretty solid. For me at least, I personally am super duper happy with him, and I think most players will be really impressed with him in general. Having Ki in the passive also does help as well, and he's generally just runnable on any of his teams, whether as a main unit or as a floater for damage. Whatever way you want to run him, you can, but he just looks really good, I think at least. So here we are going to see a pretty good showing from him. I think, we'll see the same attack stat, because obviously we haven't managed to get off any additionals, but yeah, you also don't need to evade every time. The evasion stack lasts for 4 turns as well, which is also something really nice. So it means you're not relying on him evading or getting attacked before he attacks every single time, which I think is really good. But yeah, that's it for the raw numbers. What we'll do now is we'll just go and take a look at his link set, and then that's basically it. So yeah, I think he looks really good overall. Looks fantastic, feels fantastic, and yeah, honestly, nothing bad to say about the guy. So in terms of link sets, he does have a pretty decent one, as I mentioned before. Fairly common links. So Saiyan Warrior Race, pretty good. Super Saiyan, pretty good. Prepared for Battle, pretty good. And Fierce Battle, all fairly common links. Then you've got Golden Warrior, which is fine in his Super Saiyan form, and Over in a Flash and Fused Fighter, which help him on the fusion teams and on God-based teams, as those are fairly common links on those teams. When he transforms, he loses the Golden Warrior link for the Warrior Gods link, and that just means he links slightly better with God units, but he'll still be okay with Super Saiyan units, as he still has Super Saiyan, Saiyan Warrior Race, Prepared for Battle, and Fierce Battle. In terms of his links overall, as I mentioned before, he does gain from link leveling, but more offensively than anything. If you look at his link levels in his base form, Saiyan Warrior Race becomes a 10% link, which is a 5% gain. Super Saiyan's 5% attack gain, Prepared for Battle's a 5% defense gain, 7% attack on Over in a Flash, 5% attack and defense on Fused Fighter, and 20% on Fierce Battle. If you really want to get into the meat and bones of it, you can get Prepared for Battle and Fused Fighter for his absolute best defensive link set, but it's really not necessary. It's only 10% in total. Once he transforms, he gains Warrior Gods, which is far better an offensive link than Golden Warrior, and that also gets progressively better as well. So that's really it. He just gains a whole bunch of attack. I think if you add everything up, he gains around 30% attack, I think, from link leveling, 35% attack from link leveling, and 10% defense, which is a decent link set, but it's nothing crazy. Super class based units don't necessarily always have the craziest link leveling like effects. It's not like Big Bad Bosses and Terrifying Conquerors and Metamorphosis and stuff like that. But yeah, overall he looks pretty good, and he links up really well with a lot of units. Tech God Goku is a great tank to run with him for certain events. He links up really well with other God units. And yeah, in general, I just think he's really good. Obviously, as I mentioned before, I think you can link him up with anyone or just float him, and he'll look really great. That's it from me. Let me know your thoughts, and bye.